Hey, this is Edmund with Tabletop Gaming Guild. Today we're going to be looking at the Go 7 insert for HeroQuest. It's something I've been kind of looking forward to getting my hands on because there's a lot of game here and it needs a little bit of help. So let's go take a look. Built-in insert's not too bad, but it does have kind of a few drawbacks, at least especially for me. One, it takes up a whole lot of space, so you don't have any room for adding in any of the expansions. Plus, well, there's just, well, it's kind of hard to tell from this one here, but let's go ahead and get to the minis. Because what I would like to do is, I would like to go and paint the minis that come with the game. But there's one problem, and you can hear it. They are really tight in here. So I'm kind of hoping that with a good organizer that I can fit everything from the extra boxes and well, also be able to paint these minis and not have them get popped off every time I try, you know, rubbed off every time I go and take these minis in and out of the game. So, and here is the insert that we got from Go 7 Gaming. It is pretty hefty. I'm counting at least 10 sheets on here at least. Probably, I wouldn't be surprised if it was closer to like 12 or 15. Anyway, I'm going to go and take this down to my workbench and start putting this together, and we'll see how that goes here. But before then, let's kind of take a look here. What we got. Alright. Alright, let's see. Alright, well, we got the instructions here, so let's go and get this bad boy together. Alright, so first impressions here, opening it up. Instructions look pretty good. Like everything is labeled, like all the plates are easily identifiable by the numbers in the corners here, and everything is popped out of the boards here. Some just falling out, so definitely don't see any problems there. And right now, I definitely greatly appreciate how tightly everything fits together here. Like everything is just well within like spec, you know, like everything just fits nicely, which I super appreciate right now after the hours I spent just assembling my new workstation here. Let's just say it wasn't as well designed or constructed. I have to say, I love these directions. They are well laid out. I mean, the color coordination, you know, between that and the lettering and the giving you good details on the actual boards themselves. I mean, I've already assembled here in a couple minutes the first 3 pieces here, and yeah, it's been a cakewalk here as far as figuring it out. Right now I'm on page 3 and I'm assembling the large mini tray number 1, and there's a couple of things that I would definitely want to note. The first of which is in the direction that says to go and put all the B points on first. You definitely need to put the C on first, because you can see it kind of snap into there, and if you already have these glued in place, you're gonna have a hard time getting the tabs in and sliding it into place. It's just much easier just go ahead and put C down first and then put down all the B's pieces on here. The other thing I would note, and this is just kind of my personal preference from when, as they suggest, you do the dry testing here, I feel that it was easier to put the sides on at this point Basically, I'm going to put the C and D part, rails here first, and then all of these ones, and then the walls, because then these kind of give like a little bit of support for holding the walls in place. And for the next part, I'm going to be putting all of these in, and I feel like having all of these things in and then trying to slide these into place is just going to be that much more difficult when you can just come in after the fact, put all these in, because they slide down in. And I don't know if that was maybe the original intention, but yeah, that's definitely what my experience has been, at least with this tray so far. But outside of that, everything has been great. Alright. So, putting together mini tray number 2, and I kind of find a similar thing where after doing the dry fit and looking at it, I really feel like steps 5 and 6 should go before 3 and 4. Simply because of the fact that, again, we have pieces that need to slide down in. I think I got this flipped around. Yeah, this is over here. Middle one here, yeah. So again, it has the instructions where you're putting these pieces, these slide down into pieces in before you put in the walls. And while, you definitely could, I mean, I just find it easier to do these afterwards. But again, your mileage might vary. Alright, we have all the large mini trays and the card box here completed for the first night, and we got all these set up here to dry. Tomorrow we're going to come back and we'll finish up with all the 3 mini trays, and then we'll let that dry for the night, and then it'll be time to go and throw it in the box. Alright, on the second evening of the assemble here, just going to be working on, looks like the 2 mini trays, and then I think we're going to be done after that, from what I can tell. Anyway, let's go ahead and get to that here. Alright, I've gotten to mini tray number 2 here, and I once again kind of went off, I guess, off their instructions again after doing the dry fit, just for, what made sense for me. So, they would have had us putting the C cross blocks in here at this point, before putting on the 2 sides. And I felt like putting the 2 sides does the same job of stabilizing all these, with the added benefit of glue cleanup being a lot easier, because it just kind of go along the whole line. Don't have to worry about going in between and doing the whole square. So that way when I come back in later for the C's, I can still just kind of go down the line, and it's a little bit easier for cleanup. But yeah, that's kind of like the biggest reason for me. For like changing up the order here. But I mean, it works both ways, but that's just what makes sense for me, and it might make sense for you as well. Yeah, let's go and wrap this one up here. Oh, I guess the other reason I had for doing it this way too is for doing the cleanup for all the smaller areas. You want to probably handle a little more, and having done all these other pieces first, it should have a little bit more, like the glue should have set a little bit more by the time you're needing to shift it around for the cleaning with the C cross pieces in here. But anyway, catch you guys in a few minutes here. Alright, well, that's a wrap. Oop, almost there. Wrap on the second night of the assembly, and in fact, everything is now complete, and we're just gonna let this dry, and then tomorrow it'll be real excitement, and that is getting to put everything in the box. We can go and take a look here, though. Here's what we're working with here so far. Alright, and we are back upstairs. So the assembly time took about 5 hours and 2 days of drying overnight. And I have to say that I am really happy with the results. Everything fit together nicely, and I personally am a huge fan of wood inserts, and just because, you know, I like having a little bit more of the extra kind of weight and heft, and also the just the aesthetics of wood. But yeah, like I said, it was about 5 hours. Not entirely certain on the first night of assembly. It had a lot of interruptions, but I think it was about 2.5 hours each night of me just putting together all the pieces and setting them out to dry. I'd like to thank Go7 for the insert. It is exactly what I was hoping for. You know, the instructions were perfect. It was easy to follow along, and you know, more than anything, the diagrams were incredibly helpful for me. You know, just kind of figuring out, and you know, even though I kind of varied a few times from their instructions, I mean that's kind of why they tell you to dry fit it, just so you can put it together and, you know, get things to work how you want it to when you're putting it in. Also, love the cards. I mean, they got me more dividers than I know how to divide the cards at the moment, so it's definitely future-proofed. Definitely enjoyed that. There was a couple of, I'd say 3 items that kind of came up during the assembly that I saw as kind of sticking points, and that is the Dragon Mini. So if I was to paint this, it is a very tight fit. You don't really rub too much, so you know this probably won't be too bad of a problem post painting. The one that will be a problem though is the fireplace. This one here, it is a super snug fit, at least for mine. There is no way that is not rubbing, but fortunately there is a very easy workaround for that. Since this sits at the top of the box, you can just have it sit out like that, and yeah, there won't be any rubbing, so you don't have to worry about your paint getting rubbed off of the miniature there. The third item that I had was more of, I want to know what these 2 red figures are here, because I count 2 more red minis than I have. I'm wondering if I didn't get something. But jesting aside, this has been very easy to put together. I would definitely recommend this set, especially if, like me, you're a fan of wood inserts. And once again, I'd like to thank Go7 Gaming, and you guys have a good evening.